Hello, my wonderful students. If you are watching this video, it means that you have drafted the introduction and at least two or more body paragraphs on your explanatory essay in teen activism. So now you are at the final paragraph, the conclusion. And this Ed Puzzle is going to give you a few tips and suggestions for how to write a great conclusion to an explanatory essay. We have a lot of resources to help us. You have your mentor text in your writer's notebook. Mine is right here. When I take a look back at it and look at the conclusion paragraph, my notes tell me that I need to restate my thesis in my conclusion and I need to make a connection to the world. So I need to remind my audience what was this big idea that I introduced in my introduction that I hope they have learned at the end of my essay. I have to say it in new words though, right? I don't want to be redundant and I want them to really take away as much as possible to help remember this topic. In addition, I want to answer this connection to the world question. How does this fit to a bigger context? So what? Why is this information important? Why was it worth my audience's time to read this essay? So those are the two things I need to achieve: restate thesis and connection to the world. I'm going to want to have my box and bullets outline in front of me just so that I am not forgetting my box idea, my thesis. I essentially need to think of another way to say this. It's really helpful to look at it and then kind of cover it up and think without looking at it, how can you restate it in a new way? So I need to find a way to mention how teen activists are so passionate about research and education on a variety of issues. So how can I rephrase that? I've got to play around with it. And I'm going to type mine in my writer's notebook. You guys can type yours directly into your drafting document. You don't have to do yours in your writer's notebook. So I'm going to start with a great transition phrase in conclusion when we're wrapping up essay. And I want to make sure I'm indenting because my conclusion is its own separate paragraph. That's how I show the readers that I'm starting a new paragraph. In conclusion, okay, I've got to say something about teen activists caring about knowledge and how much they know. So in conclusion, teen activists are committed to arming themselves with facts that they can use to understand and resolve issues connected to, I'm trying to think of like what Malala and Marley Diaz were fighting for, to inequality. That's what I think of when I think about Marley Diaz. She was worried about equal representation and suffering. Malala was really worried about kids suffering from not going to school. So instead of saying that teen activists care about education and research, I tried to rephrase it by saying they arm themselves with facts to understand and solve problems. I like that because it's playing on this idea of to arm yourselves. Usually people think of that as a violent act, right? But this is actually a really peaceful and really powerful way to arm yourself. So that's it. I restated my thesis. And now I have to make a connection to the world. Let my audience know, so what? Why does this information matter? And we have a couple questions we can ask ourselves to help us achieve this part of the conclusion. 1, why is this information important? 2, why does my reader need to know this? And 3, how does it affect society? I really feel like readers understanding this information and why it's important has to do with because there's so many problems in the world still. And when I hear a lot of people talk about problems, they just complain. They complain and they complain and they complain and they don't take action to do anything about it. And that's why I think teen activists are so awesome. They take action instead of just complaining. And that affects society because their efforts can really be an inspiration to others to take action and are actually solving some of these problems that we face. So I'm going to try to put that into words for my connection to the world. Teen activists are not ignoring the world's problems or simply complaining about them. On the contrary, I'm trying to use a fancy transition phrase there to show a difference. On the contrary, young leaders, I don't want to be repetitive and say teen activists again and again. Young leaders are working with creativity, determination, and courage to address some of the greatest challenges facing humanity. Boom. All right, so I've restated my thesis here. I'm going to highlight it in green so that it matches the thesis statement that I had in my introduction and in the mentor text. And I took 2 sentences to write my connection to the world to answer these questions. These questions are available for you to refer back to in this assignment if you need to find them again. And your whole conclusion should really be 3 to 4 sentences long. Don't need anything more than that. Again, we're trying to make sure our audience knows what our big idea was that we were teaching them and that they know why this information matters. Once you have written your conclusion, I recommend going through and highlighting your draft so that it matches the colors that you put in your mentor text. Be sure to submit your draft, whatever you have in Canvas today. If you have the Google glitch and can't submit, please share the draft that you did with me at thastings@wiseburn.org. Good luck, kiddos. I can't wait to see all of your work.